Welcome to part 2, where we'll be having a look at the second half of the AQA 2024 Foundation Paper 2. Let's take a look. Question 14 says rearrange D equals H minus 4 to make H the subject. So what we're going to do is move all of the terms that aren't H to the other side. So in this case, we've only got this negative 4 on the right hand side. So if we do the opposite and add 4 to both sides, we'll get D plus 4 is equal to H. So D plus 4 is the final answer. Part B says rearrange P equals W over 3 to make W the subject. So this is W divided by 3. So we need to move this 3 to the other side. So we're going to do the opposite to dividing by 3, which is multiplying by 3. So multiplying both sides by 3, we get 3P equals W. So W is equal to 3P. Question 15 says a linear sequence begins 2, 5, 8, 11. Work out an expression for the nth term. So what we're going to do is find the common difference between each of the terms. Between each of the terms we add 3. So the nth term is always in the form an plus b, where a is the common difference, so that's going to be 3n. And then to find out what this b term is, we work out the previous term at the start. So if we're adding 3 going to the right, we're going to subtract 3 going to the left. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So the final answer is 3n minus 1. Question 16 says the diagram shows a circle centre O and 3 straight lines. Use one word to describe each shaded region. So region A, this is a segment. And region B is a sector. Question 17 says work out 1, 2 plus 4, 6. So this question looks at column vectors. So when we're doing column vectors, we're going to add the numbers along the top. So 4 plus 1 is 5, and then add the numbers along the bottom. So 2 plus 6 is 8. Question 18 says bag A and bag B contain counters. Bag A says a quarter of them are red and the rest are blue. Bag B states that 3 are white and 2 are green. And we need to complete the tree diagram. So for bag A, we've got a quarter that are red. All probabilities need to be out of a whole, or in other words, 1. So if we do 1 subtract a quarter, that gives us 3 quarters. For bag B, 3 are white and 2 are green. So in total, we've got 5 counters here. So for the white probability, this is going to be 3 out of a possible 5. For the green, 2 out of 5. And then again, 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5. So part B says 1 counter is taken from random from each bag. Work out the probability that 1 is red and 1 is white. So the path that we're going to take when we get 1 that is red and 1 that is white is this path here. So when we're going along the branches, we multiply the probabilities together. So we've got a quarter multiplied by 3 over 5, which gives us 3 out of 20. So this is our final answer. Question 19 says use trigonometry to work out the value of x. So this question looks at SOHCAHTOA. So the first step when we're looking at SOHCAHTOA is to label our sides. So we've got the hypotenuse, the opposite side, and the adjacent side. And then we write out SOHCAHTOA. We look to see what we've been given. So we've been given h, which is 31 centimeters, and we've been asked to find x. So that looks at O and h, which corresponds to SO. So this means we get sine followed by the angle in the question, which is 24 degrees, and this is equal to O, which is x, over the hypotenuse, which is 31. So to get x on its own, we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 31 to get rid of that divide by 31. So 31 multiplied by sine 24 will give our answer for x. So 31 multiplied by sine of 24, and this is equal to 12.61. So to one decimal place, the answer is 12.6. Question 20 says the mass of an iceberg is 2,200,000. This value is a 12% reduction from the original mass of the iceberg. Work out the original mass of the iceberg. So this is reverse percentages. So if we've got a 12% reduction, then we're going to do 1 subtract 0.12, which is 12% as a decimal, and this is equal to 0.88. So if we do 0.88 multiplied by the original value, this should equal 2,200,000. So if we write this more clearly, we've got 0.88 x is equal to 2,200,000. So to get x, we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 0.88. So we've got 2,200,000, and then divide this by 0.88. So x is equal to 2,500,000, but we need to put this in standard form. So standard form is always in the form a times 10 to the n, where a is between 1 and 10. So I'm going to put this decimal point between the 2 and the 5, multiplied by 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the final answer is 2.5 times 10 to the 6. Question 21 says a chef has a tub of blueberries. She wants to use all of the blueberries and put the same number of blueberries on each dessert. We've got this formula D equals K over B, where D is the number of desserts and B is the number of blueberries on each dessert. What does the constant K represent? So I'm going to go down this list and substitute in each of these sentences into the formula. So D, which is the number of desserts, equals, so the number of blueberries in a tub divided by the number of blueberries on each dessert will give us the number of desserts. So we're going to tick the first box here. Part B says complete the table. We've got when B is equal to 2, D is equal to 120, so D equals K over B. So when D is equal to 120, we've got K over B. So you can work out what this constant is if we multiply, well actually B is 2. So if we multiply both of the sides by 2, we'll get K is equal to 240. So the formula is D equals 240 over B. So we can work out what D is for when B is 6. 240 over 6, which is equal to 40. And then we can work out what B is when D is equal to 30. So 30 equals 240 over B. So if you multiply both sides of the equation by B, we've got 30B equals 240. And then if we divide both sides of the equation by 30, 240 divided by 30 is equal to 8. Question 22 says a fair spinner has 6 equal sections, each with the number 5, 6, 7 or 8. Each number appears at least once. The probability of an even number is equal to the probability of picking a 7. Work out the probability of a 5, and you may use the blank spinner to help you. So each number appears at least once. We've got 5, 6, 7 and 8. The probability of an even number is equal to the probability of a 7. Now currently there are 2 even numbers, so we'd need 2 7s to make this statement true. The probability of an even number would be 2 out of a possible 6, and this would equal the probability of a 7 currently now, which would equal 2 out of 6 as well. Now we need to work out what the probability of a 5 is, but we still have this missing section here. So if we change or add an even number, then that will throw off this statement here. And the same goes for a 7. If we put a 7 here, then that means that will also throw off this probability statement. So it must be a 5. So the probability of a 5 is 2 out of a possible 6, which is equal to 1 over 3. Part B says a different spinner has 10 sections, each labelled A, B, C or D. Give one reason why there must be a mistake in the table. So the first thing to look for is that all probabilities should add to 1. So if we do 0.1 plus 0.5 plus 0.2 plus 0.3, this is equal to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this equals 1.1. Let's just double check that. So we've got 0.1 plus 0.5 plus 0.2 plus 0.3, which is 1.1. So therefore must be a mistake, as probabilities don't sum to 1. Question 23a says, here is a sketch of the graph y equals negative 2x plus 6. Complete the coordinates for c and d. So when x is equal to 0, if we substitute 0 into this equation, we've got negative 2 times 0, which is 0, plus 6, which is 6. So the y coordinate is 6. And then for when the y coordinate is 0, we've got 0 equals minus 2x plus 6. So if we solve for x, subtract 6 from both sides to give us negative 6 equals negative 2x. And then if we divide both sides by negative 2, x is equal to 3. And the final question says, here is a sketch of a quadratic. Complete the following statements. So the value of the y-intercept is 5. And then the x-coordinate of the turning point, t, is, and then we need to fill in this number. So the turning point lies in the middle of these two numbers. So to find the middle of two numbers, we add them together. So negative 2 plus 8, and then divide by 2. So negative 2 plus 8 is 6. And then if we divide that by 2, that's equal to 3. So the x-coordinate of the turning point, t, is 3. Now we've got one more question. 24 says, Archie, we actually have two more questions. So Archie flips a bias coin 200 times. Here is some information about the outcomes of each 50 flips. Work out the best estimate for the probability of a head. Give your reason. So the best estimate will be 52 over 200, because this includes the greatest number of flips. So this has the greatest number of flips. And finally, question 25 says, a lion is sprinting in a straight line away from its den. The graph shows the lion's distance from the den. Work out the speed of the lion in meters per second. So speed is equal to distance over time. So in relation to this graph here, distance divided by time looks at the gradient of this line. So the gradient of a distance time graph is the speed, because it's distance divided by time. It's the rise over the run. So the rise in this case, it's gone from, so what are these going up in? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're going up in 5s, 25 divided by 5. So this is going to be 30 at this point here, all the way up to 105, 110, 115, 120. So the rise here is 120 subtract 30, which is 90. And then we've gone from 0 to 5 along the base. So 90 over 5 will give us our final answer. So this is 18 meters per second. So this concludes the GCSE Maths Foundation Tier Paper 2 for the 2024 series.